Hello everyone, Drew Beckman, Northwestern Illinois field agronomist here with Beck's Hybrids, and just want to take a moment here at the El Paso PFR farm to talk about fungicide on soybeans. So I'm going to talk through a little bit about how we identify the growth stage, and then Andrew Cottrell, our PFR lead here in El Paso, is going to talk a little bit about why we pick those growth stages. So when we look at a soybean plant overall, where we're going to look at that R3 growth stage is really when we want to hit that soybean with fungicide. So what we do is we find a soybean plant out there, we look at the main stem of it, and we go to the very top. We look for a trifoliate that is no longer touching on the leaf edges, and we count down 4 nodes. So we go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And really what we do is we try to see if there is a 3/16 of an inch pod beginning to form on them. Now, one thing that I would say is kind of as a little tip or trick, when you look at some of the senescing flowers, you'll see a little bit of the old dead petals there on the end. I'd like to kind of pull those out of there and just see if there's really a pod beginning to kind of form there or push out there, and that means you're getting fairly close overall. These soybeans were planted on in the middle of March, so they are probably a little bit further along than what most of them we're going to have out there in the field, but these aren't actually quite to R3 yet. The one thing that I would like for our growers to watch out for is that we did have a lot of stress here this spring, and due to that, we're seeing a lot of stacked internodes. So even though the beans aren't as tall as we may think they are, the nodes are stacked fairly tightly together. So they may be further in the reproductive cycle than we think, just based on their plant height. But Andrew's going to talk a little bit about why we like to target that R3 growth stage.
Absolutely. Thanks, Drew. So yeah, within PFR, we've tested growth stage on soybeans for a long time for fungicide. And really that's the main reason that we've seen the biggest yield increase, the most ROI out of an R3 application. And the big part of why we think that is if you look at an R3 plant, typically that plant is going to have about 6 to 13 nodes there, or at least 13 nodes. And those nodes, 6 to 13, are where most of our flowers and pods set, which is where most of our yield is going to come from. So if we can make that fungicide application and protect those nodes with most of those pods in the plant right there, we're going to really help our plant combat the fungus and disease that's going to come on.
Awesome. One other thing that we like to kind of watch out for is our adjuvants as well. So when we have seen a lot of very good response out of like a full tech type adjuvant, but basically our stickers, spreaders, anything like that, that we can basically make sure that that spray is being deposited and actually sticking and making its way into the plant. One thing that I see personally on both a lot of our herbicide applications and our fungicide applications is how much of that chemistry is actually getting into the plant to be effective. But anyway, have a good rest of your spring. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, reach out to your local agronomy or PFR staff. Thank you.